Welcome back to the Michael and Ellis Show, Episode 9, Survivor Season 47. Um, we have our special guest. Before I forget, I was so ready to get into the recap. Yes, Nina has
Nina!
returned.
Woo,
Hello.
woo,
Whoa!
woo, 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 woo.
Welcome back, Nina. Um, do you want to give any intro, or do you want? Should I just get into the episode recap real quick?
Um, it was a rough last two episodes for me, but I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
Okay, yeah, and the viewers,
Woo.
you might, if you don't know, you will know soon. You will understand why soon. Um, all right. So in the last episode, we were coming off the boot of Sierra going home. Andy felt on the top of the world. It's like I'm the greatest Survivor player ever, and Rachel had a bit of a flashback explaining why she played the shot in the dark and how she was like gauging people's reads, seeing if she should actually play her actual idol or not. And she ultimately was like, I think I'm safe. So it was a good play on her. Um, Sam is feeling slighted, wants revenge, but he can't. He was talking to Teeny and Soul, and he's had to restrain himself, wait for his moment to strike. And we get to the challenge. Um, this episode, the contestants were able to choose their partners, and somehow everyone found someone that they thought could carry them to the end, while also still believing they could beat them as well individually. Which I don't know how that worked, but like Gabe and Kyle both thought they could beat each other. Andy and Sam were both like, I can't wait to beat this dude. Um, yeah, it was I really enjoyed it. But Gabe ends up winning immunity, and he ends up going on reward with Kyle, Soul, and Teeny with some BLTs. Soul was burping a shit ton, and it was honestly intimidating Gabe a little
So
bit because he had his wimpy burps.
that was so weird.
um,
They had a
and
burp off. It was so gross. I hated everything.
yeah, and while they were doing that, Sam, Rachel, Caroline, and Andy, because they were the first groups to lose in the challenge, they played a game of Jenga to see who will lose their vote. And Caroline, as supportive as she is with everyone else, ultimately would lose her own vote. Maybe she needs to be a little more self confident and supportive. We're not really seeing a lot of like Caroline uh, advocating for herself. So maybe that's about to change. But yeah, so Caroline loses her vote, and we get back to camp, and we're seeing the continual dissolving of tribal lines. Genevieve is talking to Andy. She wants to make a big move, throwing out Soul. It seems like that's kind of what's gonna happen. Rachel is hearing about it, and she doesn't want to like blow up the thing, but she does kind of let Sam know where the vote's going, and Sam immediately goes to Soul and blows everything up. Get to tribal. Soul is a little nervous. He ends up whispering to Genevieve. There's so much mayhem during tribal. It's looking like it's going to be between Kyle and Sue, but it ends up just coming back around and landing back on Soul. Soul goes home. Nina's last contestant, one of my favorite players. Very sad, very hurt. But yeah, so Nina, as someone who has Soul and Sierra, and Rome, all
And
in like the last
Rome.
like 4 episodes. Um, tough, tough break. How
Yeah.
how how are you feeling?
Well, I feel like a winner. I feel about
As you should. Keep that spirit.
um yeah, no, it's really terrible. When Sierra got out, I, I kind of saw that coming because they like the build up, they kind of talked about it. Soul was more of a like, wow, I did not think, because at tribal with all the whispering and stuff, like there were a lot of names being thrown around, and editors do a really good job of not like I'm sure if you're there, you have a better idea of what's gonna happen. They make it really interesting for the viewer. I had no idea. Like, I forget who were the other two names that were like coming up during that.
Sue and Kyle
Yeah,
were
Sue and Kyle. I really thought they were gonna get Kyle out. They should have got Kyle out. But they got Soul out. So
yeah, with a unanimous vote too, which was crazy. Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
With all that like I don't know, like chatting.
I'm surprised no one just got like confused and was just like, fuck it, I'm like
Yeah,
gonna vote like Sue or Kyle. Like not one person thought that, which is was
exactly.
crazy to me. Like I don't know, I like still don't get how it ended up being unanimous. I'm like something must have been like left out or something because it was just like
I think
insane to me.
I think that was the plan that a majority of people had um, before going to tribal, and with Soul's exit interview, like all of the like second or this like last minute plan by Sam and Soul, like try and get Sue out, or and then it switching to Kyle, like while they were still on the beach. That was all in like the last 10 minutes before going to tribal, and then at tribal there was still people that were like, I don't know if this new plan is Sue or Kyle. Soul starts whispering, like we saw like Soul was like, let's switch it back to let's, I don't remember,
Yeah.
he's like it's Sue, and then Genevieve's like I thought it was Kyle, but meanwhile Teeny is like, Sam, is it Sue or is it Kyle
She
or
looked
who is
scared.
it? Yeah, and Sam was like I thought it was Sue. So like that plan clearly did not have enough time to like solidify. And I think at tribal you just had like Gabe and the Tuku members who were like strong enough to like and loud enough just in most of that discourse probably to just be like, this is too risky, let's just go Soul. And everyone was like, okay, fuck it, I don't want it to be me, I'm just gonna go Soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the aftermath this week.
You were right. Teeny and Sam, now that I'm remembering it, looked like petrified during that whole thing. And I don't blame them, because like I would think everyone's lying to me.
And they were.
Yeah, and they were.
I mean, Teeny caught Gabe in like a good like cross examination where she was like, the Gabe was like, is it? I don't remember. She was like, are you voting for what was it, Kyle or something? And he was like, what?
She was
No.
like, "Art it is." I think she was like, "Is Soul the plan?" And he was like, "No, who told you that? Because he's not."
Right.
So it was like a
Which,
very blatant lie.
yeah. And he's like, who told you that? Who told you that? And it's like, Teeny's like,
Yeah,
bitch, like
very
everyone.
aggressive about it. Like, hello? What do you mean? Who told me that? I didn't have like have my head in the sand for like the whole fucking like time that we were at the beach. Like, hello?
Yeah. Um,
All right, well let's head back to the beginning at the start of the episode. I guess quick off, we did get the confirmation that Rachel did play her shot in the dark with intentions of seeing if it could tip off any reads that she should actually play her actual idol. I thought was very cool. That was something that
Very smart.
it was a potential shot in the dark move that a lot of Survivor fans were like looking forward to when it would be done on the show. And we finally got there. I'm hoping for more creative uses of the shot in the dark in the future instead of just, it's not even worth it, I don't want to lose my vote. Like, come on. There's
yeah.
still it. They're like, I just, we've seen so many people go home and they're like, I knew it was me, but like I just felt like using my vote was a better shot than like a 1 in 6 chance. It's like I don't feel like people value that like 1 in 6 chance that you will be safe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
No, you're totally right. And I feel like I know there's instances where it comes like neck and neck down to the wire, but I feel like especially this season, most times if you're getting voted out, it's everyone is voting you out. So it's worth like you shouldn't it's worth taking that chance. Losing your vote is not going to change the outcome for you.
Yeah, like the whole collective is just like agreeing on your like demise, which
Um,
is which is so interesting because honestly, it always looks like it's not gonna be that, and then it absolutely is that like every time. So
yeah, right?
props to them because it always seems like it isn't, and then suddenly it just is.
Yeah. I like the shot in the dark. And I agree with you, Ellis, that was a clever implementation of it.
Yeah, well, what did you guys?
Something
Yeah.
mine was like a different question, so you can go.
I was gonna move on to the challenge, so
Oh yeah, okay, do that.
okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, there was a twist where the players had some control, like I guess you could say socially. They got to choose who their partner was. It wasn't just like a random draw. And we got to see people's confessionals of like, sorry, as like the background, my screen is like getting blown out.
You're getting taken away to heaven
Yeah, I'm.
as we he's on his way.
But yeah, no, we got to see players like strategy and thoughts and feelings on who they chose. I thought it was very interesting. I like those kind of tiered challenges. Um, yeah, I was a big fan.
Do you remember what all the partnerships were? I only remember like a handful of them.
It was
Yeah, it was Gabe and Kyle, and
mhm,
then there was
Teeny Soul.
um Teeny Soul, Genevieve Sue,
Hmm.
Andy, Sam, and Caroline and Rachel.
Yes,
Right. I
Andy and
guess out of all of those, oh sorry.
all I was gonna say was just Andy and Sam ripped their bag in the sand, and we got another shot of Andy doing a really weird like
Pumping the ground again, like
Yeah, it has to be
gyrating
on
for his
purpose.
life.
it's really
It's
rough.
not it's not a coincidence anymore.
It just happens.
It has to be on purpose.
This is like the fourth time this has happened. It's like ridiculous.
I wonder how he feels watching it at home. If his
I
family
Oh my
watched.
god.
I like literally wouldn't even know what to say to anyone. I would just be like, let's just like skip the challenge part. I'll like tell you what happened.
Teeny also had the like slow mo like oh shit like
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that
I saw
crazy.
like a tweet of like me after eating Taco Bell at 2 a.m. or something like there is so many good just like really rough. I mean, there's no way Teeny remembered like that happening, like, so I can only imagine watching that back and suddenly you're seeing slow-mo shots of yourself just like in pain and like
At your lowest.
the like dramatic music and you're like oh no. Like
Were you guys surprised by any of those partnerships, or was it like what you guys expected?
I was surprised by Caroline and Rachel, I think, like, because they were the first pair. Like, they immediately paired off together, and I think that
Yeah.
surprised me. Um, because it is weird. Like, this whole season, I feel like they have this weird, like, I want to, like, get you out, but I also, like, really respect your game. And, like, so, like, it's, like, this weird,
that's
like,
true, I didn't think about that. I mean, they
because
were,
Caroline has been trying to get Rachel out for, like, episodes now. Like,
to be
like,
fair, they did
multiple.
to be fair, they did talk. It was Teeny, Rachel, Caroline at the social hour, but now that
Yeah.
and that's what I was kind of more thinking of. But now that you mention it, like yeah, like Caroline is like, damn it, Genevieve, I wanted to throw out Rachel's name. Like
Yeah, like, literally, like.
Yeah.
She's just wanted like Rachel out for like 2 episodes at this point. Like she wanted her out for the Tiana vote and the Sierra vote, but it just didn't happen. So yeah, but I thought
um
that was interesting. And they did not work as well together as I thought they would have. I think they got like last behind like Andy's humping and Sam's like giving upness.
before I forget, we can move on to the fantasy rankings. I
Oh
just sent the
no.
new
Oh,
standings. Nina, you do have one of the cold emojis
But that
by
means
your
you went
name.
down, right?
That means I went down?
Oh, that means like I went down, right?
Yeah, you have dropped down to one, two, three, four, five, sixth place.
oh
Um,
God.
Wow.
Sean is back
Well,
in second. Christina's in third. Abby had a little bit of a comeback. She's now in fourth. Michael's still comfortable up
Yeah,
in first
Michael.
place there. I
Nice.
uh,
Brielle. Okay, Nina, you weren't the only one to drop though. Brielle has dropped all the way down to 10th place. I am now ahead of
Okay, that
Brielle.
makes me feel better. Thank you,
I mean,
Brielle.
technically I'm tied with Brielle. Technically I am tied with Brielle, but I have two players, so I feel like that's a pretty fair tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Um, Gianna and Emily also are tied, and I gave the tiebreaker to Gianna since Sol was the most recent person to go home. Um, yeah, a lot of movement. Gianna is now on the left side of the standings, which is big. Um,
whoa. Things
yeah,
are
big
changing.
for us right-siders. We've been like at the bottom. It's our time to start slowly rising up the leaderboard now. Um,
No, I think that's okay. I think I think it's fine.
I know it
I
feels
like where
weird
things
that now there's no way. Oh wait, if Kyle wins, I can get points. But yeah, there's pretty much no way I'm going to be getting points.
are. Let's hope for Kyle.
Yeah, no, there's just you know what? In hindsight, I kind of wish I picked Andy. Um,
Whoa. Andy Retribution.
he's
I
Um,
mean, he's kind of been going off recently.
yeah,
yeah.
they're editing him like he's this like underdog, which makes me think they're building up a narrative for him to do like really, really good come the end of the game.
hmm Yeah, it's kind of a question of though, like, will people actually vote for him? I like people have been trying to read the edit, and in all of like 41 through now, there's always been a zero vote finalist, and they've always gotten this really strange edit of like they're a good player, but like they just are always kind of like failing. It's always like the Charlie. It was mainly Owen in 43 with and they call it the Charlie Brown edit, and Jake from 45 was like another big Charlie Brown. Um, and now there's a lot
That's
of
so sad.
now there's a lot of discourse. It's like, could that be Teeny, or could that be Andy? It's yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's hard to tell.
Heaney was a good pick. I think he might win.
So you think Teeny still has a shot at winning?
I think if people start picking up on like how good of a player they are, no, but it doesn't seem like people are doing that right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, right now they Teeny doesn't really have anything to like show
Yeah,
for.
that's
Um,
Yeah, that is true.
if,
But
if
yeah.
anything, working with Genie most likely means that you'll be headed out the door very soon, is what it seems like.
Sol, Sierra,
Sierra,
Tiana,
Keyshawn,
yeah,
Asia.
But you never know. They could
Rome.
introduce like a twist or a boat trip or something.
No, believe me, I am still rooting for Teeny. They were my midseason winner pick. They are also on my team. They are the only hope I have in rising up this leaderboard. Um,
So you invested so much into Teeny. Why did you do that?
it's I have to go all in. It's the only. It's like I'm like Doctor Strange looking through all of the like different alternate universes, and this is the one universe that I like can win, and that's Teeny winning it all in a clean sweep.
Okay.
Well, gotta stick to your guns, you know.
Yeah,
But good for you.
yeah. I mean, Gianna
I mean,
stick to her
you
guns.
probably
That
would
didn't
win, right?
really. Sorry.
Like you probably would win, right? If Teeny
Well, Christina also has Teeny, and she is currently in third
Oh,
place. So it
okay.
it if Rachel like went home like this week, that could be pretty nice. Because I need all of my Teeny and Kyle teams to get pummeled, and Brielle's team has already been kind of completely shot, so don't have to worry about
Oh, Brielle.
Brielle anymore. But Christina is my main competition right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, got to.
Alright.
But I did have one question that this is kind of in a whole different direction,
Yeah.
but
I
going
think
back
I
to
know
kind
where
of
this
the
is going.
episode.
Hmm.
Um, so one thing that I thought was really interesting about the episode is Sam's obviously at the bottom of like the game right now. Just lost Sierra.
Hmm.
And Rachel kind of tries to give him an olive branch and is like, hey, I need to tell you something. The vote is Soul. Like, please do not blow up my spot. I am trying so hard to like wiggle my way in here. And like, I think this could be an opening for us. And Sam's like, all right, bet. And then turns around and is like, Soul, they're voting for you. So, and like, even Rachel has a confessional where she's like, I shouldn't have told Sam. This was such a mistake. Like, cause, and so I'm just like curious, like now Sam tried to pull off this plan where it was going to be Sue. Like Sam was like, we gotta do Sue.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's gotta happen. We gotta make this big move. And then it just fell on its face. So I'm kind of like, I want to ask, do you guys think that like Sam and Rachel will like continue to work together, or is that like done? Do you think like Gada's kind of destroyed at this point?
They shouldn't. If she, don't know, like has self-respect and like I don't know. I'd be really mad if someone did that. And like I remember that too. It made me not like Sam more watching it. 'Cause I don't know. I know it's a game, but I don't know.
I think you do have to look at like who you else you have to work with, and I think something we may see next episode is Teeny is gonna start gunning for Genevieve because in Soul's exit confessional, he did mention how a lot of the things they cut out in the live tribal was at the very end. Teeny and Soul found out that Genevieve was like the leading, uh, like voice for the Soul plan, and Soul was like, well, we need to vote, for her then, and Teeny was like, we can't do that now, like we have to stick with Sue, which Soul in hindsight was like that was basically like Teeny knew it was gonna be me, but they couldn't like blow up their own spot. And I think Sam, in a similar sense, like for his own game, I think you have to try and protect Soul because that's a new ally. They're probably gonna be one of your closest allies moving forward, and like this whole Genevieve and Tuku alliance seems like it could be a very powerful, like hard to maneuver around voting block. And like same kind of with Rachel. I don't know. I think it didn't work out for Sam, but also like good read on him for like Sue being like the glue and like connected to a lot of people. I mean, from the edit, I feel like we've been kind of seeing it, but like from other people, but not like blatantly about how Sue is like playing this really good social game. And getting Sue out would like completely open up the game for like a lot of alliances. And yeah, I don't know. I just hope there's chaos. I hope there's unpredictableness.
I think there will be.
I think so too.
But I am scared that how it's looking right now is similar to 45, where there's kind of like the other tribes falling apart when it comes to merge, but one tribe sticking together and kind of bulldozing. That is one thing I'm scared of because it does seem like that Tuku alliance is the strongest. Like there's the least cracks in it. Like Genevieve and Teeny are like at each other's ends. Like Sam and Rachel just like are also in the same boat. Andy's like, I'm just voting all the Gata members because I hate them. And so you have like Tuku kind of sitting there like, okay, like they're all on fire. I guess we can just like wait for them to like burn and like make it through. But I'm
They're
hoping that doesn't happen.
there is the Sue and Kyle powder keg that looks like is about to explode from the next time
Oh, and
on.
I'm so excited. The tsunami is coming
Mhm.
out next episode. She
It's gonna.
like holding a machete and screaming that you want to kill someone on the island is crazy, and I'm so excited for it. Like she's literally like smashing it against the ground, just going, I hate Kyle. Like I'm like, how does it get to this point? Like what happened?
Um. Well, do we want to start to approach possible predictions for next episode? Who we think is in danger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I can start off. We,
Go for
you
it.
guys are,
I need
if you,
I need time to think.
sure,
I have no
yeah.
Me
idea.
too.
Um, I do think this could be the episode that Genevieve is going home.
And that's a hater mentality to have.
It's, listen, I think Genevieve has been playing an amazing game, and if they get to the end, it is like people are saying like Kim Spradlin, Parvati levels of like master class of Survivor gameplay. Like she is playing everyone, but I do think trying to get Soul out just seemed like a very unnecessary move for her to make. I think she would kind of approach people in good ways where it's like, do you want to be a part of this plan? It wasn't like, hey, I'm trying to get Soul out. Like it was a very like the way she was framing it was very well, but I think after tonight's tribal and we've been seeing so much of like the emotion of Teeny's arc. I feel like that is gonna be paid off by like the downfall of Genevieve, basically. And yeah, that's just I think and that's also why I think we didn't see much of it in the next time on. I think Kyle and Sue, there's gonna be a big explosion of something, but I ultimately don't think either of them are gonna be going home next episode.
I remember last time I was on this podcast, the possibility of Genevieve going home came up, and Michael went, "I'm gonna set myself on fire if that happened."
And I will stand by that.
If
Ellis clearly
Genevieve
wants me to
goes, I
die.
go.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. But I would like to, to refresh everyone's memory for the audience, this is what Ellis said last episode too, because he hates me. So he does love to predict Genevieve going home.
Listen, Genevieve was one of my
I mean,
faves in the preseason. And she
Mhm.
was invisible for the first few episodes, which is like, what the hell? Why is this happening? And yeah, but she's been great. I think she has been an iconic Survivor player. I just think it might have been a little too iconic, and people are gonna start picking up on it.
I mean, if you guess her every week, you've got to be correct.
Right?
Unless
Right?
she wins, and then you just
I
are
think
awful.
no, but I think I predicted Gabe last with on Christina's podcast because I remember he won immunity. And I was like, God damn it, what the fuck? Like now my prediction's cooked. Just to be fair, it's not every week, okay? Maybe it's like every other week.
Um, yeah, I think your predictions are fair. I think I like low-key agree with you, but I wish that's not.
I believe this.
I sorry. Um I really think they need to start getting. I think if they're doing what's best for them, they should get out Sam or Kyle. I know those are like obvious choices, but um I don't know. Kyle just I know his name was thrown up last time, but he he's kind of like I know like, running the show is a strong phrase to use, but he's like winning so many immunities that would already make me think he has to go. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. He has some good allies, so
I just don't think Kyle has enough. Like you could win 10 immunities. That's not gonna like give you the title of sole survivor. You still have to like play a good social and strategic game, and I'm just not convinced Kyle is threatening enough. I'm not saying I could see if he loses again, he probably could go home. But I just feel like people are seeing bigger threats than him. I mean, he didn't go home this episode when he lost. It was
Right.
kind of more of just like a shit. I don't know what to do. Maybe we'll just do the easy vote with Kyle. It's not like a oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Anyways,
That's fair.
So you think Genevieve, or is that the
I
final answer?
guess I think Genevieve. I would rather Kyle or Sam, or I would rather Andy, but that's just not gonna happen. I've been hoping for it every single week, and it has not happened. So I've accepted he's just here to stay.
I don't know. I will say Andy's slowly becoming like I was such an Andy hater in the beginning, but I really like him now. I'm such a fan.
He reminds me of
wow.
Emily.
Of
Emily
who?
Flippin.
Oh,
Like she had like a rough start, but
yeah.
Yo.
kind of like an underdog.
Honestly, an Andy prediction for this episode would be kind of crazy, but I could kind of you could talk me into it. Because Emily did go home kind of early merge because she kind of played too big.
I so if we're talking about predictions,
Mm-hmm.
I think like if anyone of like the Gata or Lavo members want a way better chance of making it far, Atuku's got to go home this episode. There's a giant blue blob. There's 4 of them left.
That is very true.
This is the final 9.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's what makes me think that it comes a point where it's like you might have personal issues with people, but you need to put them aside at like a
Mm-hmm.
certain point and just be like, hey, we have to work together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can stop working together after this vote, but like for now. And I think like there's no way that I think they're not going to see that. And I also think that there was a little bit shown with, when Teeny asked Gabe, like, are you voting Soul? And like Gabe flat out lies. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely going to bite him because I can't imagine after that tribal Teeny being like, I can't wait to work with Tuku and Gabe. Like, so I feel like there's definitely a lot. Like, I think this script is definitely gonna flip, and I feel like if it's gonna be a Tuku member in like but I thought that last time too. I thought it was gonna be Caroline. I was wrong.
Michael
But
predicting a Tuku to go home and Ellis predicting Genevieve to go home.
yeah, is very common. But I do think that I think it could be Gabe. And my reasoning is like he just won immunity. Like he's part of like that Tugu 4. He's really unlikable, like unless you're in an alliance with him, like you don't really care for him. And I think like on the next time on, they're kind of pointing towards this like Sue and Kyle rivalry. And I feel like, and we've seen how Sue plays. She's a bit more of an emotional player. She's like, you voted me, I'm voting you kind of deal. So I think like if that crack does form, you can like kind of like use that like inner fighting to like get Gabe out. And then because honestly, like if I was on Survivor and there were 2 people fighting, I would be trying to keep them both in for as long as I can. Because that is so much better for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be constantly trying to skirt around getting someone else out because like you have these 2 like Kyle is like definitely more like strategic, but like Sue is definitely like does not want to work with Kyle anymore.
I don't even
So
know
I
if
think
we
it's
can call Kyle strategic. Like the Soul Secret agents completely failed him. Like
that's true. Soul Secret
Kyle
Agents
was
failed.
whispering to Sue like, "No, don't worry. Let's stick on Soul." Kyle, Soul is like your best bro, and we've been seeing this for like the past like 3 episodes. What are you doing? Like I did not understand that, and it was kind of frustrating. Like
Yeah, I was really unhappy that like Kyle and Rachel both really just dropped the ball.
can I say one more thing too?
Yeah.
Like Teeny and Soul were like, shit, how do they have the numbers? Like, how are we gonna get Sue out? Like, we gotta get Genevieve. And I'm like, ah, no, you don't get Genevieve. Like, you have Kyle. Like, Kyle will, like, maybe, I don't know. Okay, here's a question. If Sol and Teeny went to Kyle and was like, we're trying to get Sue out, do you think Kyle would have flipped? I don't know if he would have. I think he's, like, literally like, Tuku strong. Like, regardless of how he, like, feels, like, socially with people, I think he would still stick with Tuku. But I feel like that would have been a better strategy than going to Genevieve, who was literally like the leading plan of the Soul Train. So
Yeah.
That's
The
like,
Soul Train.
yeah, the Soul Train.
That's so good.
That's a good point. I think, well, something I like about, I was gonna say something I like about this season is I feel like these people aren't playing a lot with like heart. They're playing more with like strategy. Like they don't care who they're in an alliance with. They've been just like burning
mhm.
bridges, and I really like that. But I do agree with you. I think Kyle is kind of an outlier in that he is very like he's very strong with like his original tribe. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm interested to see where that goes for him.
I definitely think that I feel like Kyle isn't as Tuku strong as what you guys are saying, mostly because he's he's or at least he shouldn't be. Like maybe he is, but he definitely shouldn't be.
He should not
He's
be.
absolutely on the bottom of that alliance. Like Sue and Gabe have both talked about like wanting him out. Like I'm sorry, but if half your alliance has like considered like targeting you, I don't think you're in the best spot. And considering like if Gabe's name gets mentioned, literally like Sue and Caroline go like up in arms and they're like, "Oh, this like can't happen. Like, oh my god, we're gonna blow up the island if he goes home." Like it's like crazy. But like anyone mentions Kyle and they're like, "Yeah." And it's just like,
It's so true.
"Hello?" Like so I definitely feel like I feel like Kyle is definitely like a free agent that people aren't utilizing. I hope that like Soul was trying to, and I think that just
Clearly,
he didn't try hard enough. But I think like if someone can like try and get like one-on-one time with Kyle and like be personable with him and like I think it would be so easy to get him
that
to
was
flip.
Soul,
But
man. All right, all
yeah,
right.
well, Soul was working in a lot of different directions.
Kyle, I'm getting my hopes up. Theory time. All right.
Okay.
Kyle is just going full on. He's playing the like physical threat void of social and strategic game. He's playing the like pre-merge it was tribe strength all the way, and now merge it's tribe loyalty all the way, and he's doing that to try and downplay his strategic level like threat as low as possible. In the next few episodes we are going to see just an absolute evolution of Kyle. He's going to turn into the biggest
Yeah.
strategic mastermind, and he's going to start playing everyone more than Genevieve is. All right? That's my theory time. I mean, Nina, maybe your mid-season pick isn't that bad after all.
We'll see. I still think um this is gonna like sound like a weird thing to say, but I think a woman's gonna win this season. Um
Agreed.
I just I don't know, I just have a hunch, and like I'm looking at the men in this season and none of them strike me as like winner material, I guess, but a lot of the women do.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's funny because there's been a lot of Survivor seasons where we get like clippets of players saying like a women will win this season, and then like a man ends up winning it, and it wasn't until like 45 that like there was finally like a dominant woman like winner that like it like actually happens. But I mean the past two seasons have been like women that have won, so
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, right when you literally went your screen froze completely and like
really.
nothing that you said got through to us.
Yeah.
I was wondering why you
That's why
guys were
we're laughing
laughing.
because we were like,
On my screen, I it looked fine.
oh, no,
And
I
you
mean,
guys
as long
kind of
as the
froze for
viewer is
me, so I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Anyways,
scared.
We'll fix it in post.
Fix
yeah.
it in post.
Well, yeah, sure. All right, we just hit the 40-minute mark.
Yeah.
So are there any final thoughts before we conclude this wonderful episode of the podcast?
Just to get the final thing, you two both think Genevieve's going home. Just wanna know.
I do.
Yes, I think she is. I hope everyone that was a part of the Soul Sierra vote deserves to go home for making me have to not be invested in this Survivor fantasy league anymore. So
You know,
they
down
deserve
all
all
our
the wrath.
players. Hey, you still got Kyle.
You still
Oh,
have
yeah,
Kyle.
still got Kyle. Yay. You me.
I will admit, Michael, you did make a good argument for a Tuku member going home. I feel like if I had to pick someone, I kind of could say Caroline, maybe. Just based off the edit, like Soul and Caroline were both a little bit more under-edited, and maybe that's because they were early merge boots. But I'm sticking with my original choice. Genevieve is going home. Mark my words.
Yeah,
If not, it's not this episode. It's next episode.
And
hater
Michael will set
mentality.
himself on fire.
Literally, Ellis just wants me to die. That's the main takeaway from this. You heard it here first. Yeah, no, I think my final thought's gonna be Gabe. I definitely think Gabe. Mostly because I hate
I want
Gabe.
it to be Gabe.
Right? Wouldn't that be
Like I
grand?
hope
Gabe
that
would be
happens.
Gabe would be a fun twist. I feel like that could be interesting.
You just want an immunity, so it's like you can even go like the like, oh my god, he's a physical threat, get him out.
Physical and
Just
strategic and social.
literally, I would be throwing literally everything at the wall if I was on that island to be like, Gabe has to go, and like, here's my 8 billion reasons as to why. Like,
The whole Michael
pleading.
doctrine.
Literally, it's like it's a whole scroll of things, and I'm just like, please, please, please.
All right. Well, Nina, thank you for coming on the show.
Yes.
This was
Thank you for being a part of our podcast again.
Yeah.
Second
Thank
time.
you for having me. This was so much fun.
You
as
and Beck.
always.
You and Beck are the two returnee guests so far. Maybe there'll be
Two
another.
losers.
Well, that's
So got Kyle.
that's not a good way to look at it. You could say you got to get on the show twice. Those are two
I
winners
know,
there.
So who's the real winner?
Yeah, who's really feeling good at the end of this?
Okay, well, with that, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you're enjoying the season and our show. Yeah.
Where everyone gets their Survivor news.
Of course. Okay. Adios, everyone. I thought